Welcome to the Mr. Shades show. I'm Mr. Shades, and this is me talking about Predator Hunting Grounds. The beta, I'm recording this a day after the beta ended, which ended last night, March 29th, for anybody who cares. So this is an asymmetrical multiplayer game. Four people play a fire team, one person plays as the Predator. Now, before I get into really any of that, I have to say the servers were terrible. I spent most of my time waiting in lobbies and the main menu for players that just either weren't there or the servers were really that terrible, or like I don't know if anybody was actually playing it or not. I found I only ever played a handful of games that actually had the full people. I was either two fire team and one predator, three fire team, one predator. One time I had a full fire team and no predator. That was weird. The game launches without everybody in it. Or the predator quit at the last second. Don't know why, but that happened. So the first game, I installed it. I sat in the menu waiting for a game for 20 minutes. And then I finally got into a lobby where I waited another 10 to play my first game on the first day the beta was out. That should say something. Especially when I waited a half hour and the game was only 8 minutes long. That was not good. And then I waited even longer, like almost the same amount of time to get into my next game. So that is a thing. I don't know if it's a server issue or nobody was playing it, but I'm willing to bet it was both. Because this game was not marketed at all. Anyway, that's that. Let's talk about the fire team. So the fire team have missions to play. You have 3 objectives in each mission. That is your objective. You can either play the objective or actually actively hunt the predator. More times than not, you're just going to do your objective and then the predator shows up. So missions range from collecting stuff, killing people, and defending an area while a timer goes down. Those are the 3 basic things, and you can get any combination of those 3 basics into a mission, obviously with some story fluff to make it a little more interesting. The Marines are or like the commandos, fire team, whatever you want to call them, the humans, can walk into combat with 2 weapons, 3 equipment, and perks. Kind of a little bit like Call of Duty. The perks are very useful. I found anyway. There's reducing your reload time, reducing how much the predator sees you with his heat vision, stuff like that. There are also classes, but the classes don't really limit what you carry or anything. It's just, do you have more health? Do you move slower? Stuff like that, which I appreciate, but really at the end it's just how much health your character has. So the gameplay for the fire team is not good. It feels terrible to play. Now I played on PS4, so I can't really speak for PC, but the graphics are not very good. They feel very dated, like early PS3 title era, like that era of graphics. It feels like you're playing Crisis 2 or something like that. It has that look to it. The shooting does not feel very good. It's the whole gameplay aspect feels very dated and janky in ways that when you're you're snapping aiming, sometimes you'll snap past the enemy, or you can't really adjust very well properly. Even with full sensitivity, it still feels really slow and very rough for shooting. The equipment stuff is pretty useful. Of course, you can throw down ammo packs, health packs, stuff like that to keep yourself alive. You can also find like little mud pools and muddy yourself up to make it even harder for the predator to see you. The the fire team's fine, but it doesn't. It's just not that great. So then there's the predator side. The predator is also not fun to control. The climbing, or the predcore they call it, fucking stupid. Has very limited use. There are very specific looking trees that kind of have like a red highlight around them. That's where you can climb trees. And then when you climb a tree, you have to finish a climbing action before you do anything else. So if you climb up a tree, get to a tree branch, and move to the edge of that tree branch and say you want to switch your weapon, you can't do that. You have to wait for the predator to stop. And so each tree branch is its own like movement segment. So if you flick the stick to where you want to move, he'll move to the edge of the branch, then you can do something. Or then you can move to the back and do something again. And you can either jump, but you can't switch your weapons when jumping. You can't switch equipment when doing anything. It feels very slow and just not great. Like, if you're trying to do something on the fly, you can't really do it because the game just doesn't let you do it. So you have to be very careful with that. The climbing was not a fan of. Like, it was janky. Half the time I was just leaping around because I hate the climbing mechanic. It's terrible. And the third person, it's not great third person. It's that weird third person where your character is always constantly off to the left side and not centered, which is where you think it should be. You should be centered, and then it goes off to the left when you're aiming something. But it doesn't do that. It's really awkward and kind of shitty. That's kind of this whole thing. It's awkward and kind of shitty, but there are fun moments in like when Predator's hunting the fire team or you're being hunted. Like, and I'm not even going to say that this game's fun with friends because all these games are fun with friends. That's like saying water is wet. Like, it's obvious that. So you can't even have that as a defense. I don't call that a defense for a game that, oh, it's fun with friends. So is everything else. So don't come at me with that bullshit. Now, one weapon I struggled to use was the smart disc, because every single time I used it, the game would freak out. I would throw the smart disc, it would hit the enemy, and then it would zoom back to where my predator was. But the visuals were broken. I was a little bit zoomed in, and also my predator was completely invisible, not just like the cloaky invisible, like straight up invisible with black eyes, so it completely broke the game. And I couldn't do anything except for turn off my cloak and jump. Like, I couldn't do anything like that. It was bad. So that was a weird glitch. So I've talked, like, the game's not the best, but it's not flat out worst. It's just kind of meh. So at this point, I would say skip it. Don't bother. If you're playing if you're playing Dead by Daylight or any other game that you like that's already out, keep playing that. Don't bother switching to this, because this ain't it. Another problem is we have loot boxes in this game. Yes, loot boxes. Sure, they are cosmetic, and you can buy the cosmetic customization options for a crazy amount, or you can spend to try and get them in the loot boxes. As the loot boxes work, it's a gambling thing. Of course it is. The game doesn't actually starve you for these, though. It's pretty easy to get. Every time you level up, you get one. Leveling up didn't take very long. And when you do have some currency, half the time, once you start opening some more crates, more often than not, you will get enough duplicates to keep buying crates. So that is a thing that can happen, is that there's been times where I would get a crate, open it, have enough credits to keep getting crates. So I spent a lot of my time in this game in menus and in the crates, which I hate. Like, that's not good. But the only reason I spent so much time in the crates is because I wasn't actually playing games. I was sitting in the lobby waiting for games to happen. So that's not good. And the customization for the fire team, the customization is really basic. Just the most generic soldier shit you would expect. Like Metal Gear Solid 5 level customization for your character, where it's just uniforms, heads, like balaclavas, helmets. All of it looks boring and generic for the most part. Like, it's all just what you would expect, nothing really cool. The Predator customization, on the other hand, is actually where I think all the real time went into and all the creativity went into, because there's a lot of cool masks, a lot of different skin patterns. You can even customize the Predator's dreadlocks and stuff like that. There's like face paints and like color patterns that look really cool for the armor. And you can, of course, change between male and female Predators. So I think all the real cool customization and creativity went to the Predator side, which is good. But at the end of the beta, I felt like I just wasted my time playing this. I had some fun, but the performance issues just would ruin it. And some of the gameplay choices weren't very good. Like, more than half the time, the Predator could tank too much damage and then just melee the entire squad in a matter of seconds, killing us all. And there's just nothing we can do because our damage output just is not enough to hurt the Predator enough for him to even consider, for a Predator player to even consider not risking just jumping in the middle of us, hitting us all with the combi stick, which is overpowered melee, holy crap, and then just winning. That's usually how most of my games ended. Or sometimes a Predator wouldn't do anything. Like, sometimes my squad wouldn't even run into the Predator because sometimes the Predator just can't find us. And even I struggled with that as a Predator. I didn't see the squad at all because it spawned me on the other half of the map. And their objective was nowhere near me. So I just didn't know where they were until the end of the game, and by the time I got there, they were gone. So, and that one's on me, I know that, but it's still kind of a problem. Your tracking as a Predator just isn't very good. Sound design in this game is a problem. The Predator is too loud. You can hear the cloaking device go on and off. You can hear him moving way too often and too much when he's nowhere near you. That is an issue. So maybe once this game comes out, the performances might be better, but as it stands, I just can't say I had very much fun with this. I was hyped, and then the game just didn't deliver for me. And I wasn't playing with friends, so I don't have that aspect to say playing with friends is fun, but I did see a lot of videos of people playing with their friends, and that seemed to be the preferable way to play. It was just in private matches with your buddies. But as it stands, you'll get bored of it really quickly. So I can't recommend it. I'll probably do a video on it once the full game releases. But yeah, I think that's going to do it. So thanks everybody for watching, and we'll see you all next time.
Gonna tell Aunt Mary about Uncle John. He claimed he has a misery, but he having a lot of fun. Oh,